Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I have to be honest with you. The more I hear from the administration and its quotes, the more it sounds like talking points that come straight out of Tehran. And it feeds to the Iranian narrative of victimization when they are the ones with original sin. An illicit nuclear weapons program going back over the course of 20 years that they are unwilling to come clean on. So I don't know why we feel compelled to make their case when, in fact, do you dispute any of the things I said in my opening statement about actions that they have taken as it relates to the UN monitors, as it relates to fueling that rod, as it relates to those other elements? Do you dispute any of those? Just yes or no?
Mr. Ranking Member, no, I think you're largely correct.
Okay. So then the bottom line is they get to cheat in a series of ways. I'll call it cheat, you won't. But they get to cheat in a series of ways, and we get to worry about their perceptions. To quote from your testimony, and I'll quote directly, even if such sanctions are not, arguably, a technical violation of the Joint Plan of Action, we believe they would be perceived as such by Iran. Now, so we're worried about their perceptions, but our perceptions of what they are doing to advance their nuclear interests can be just clearly swept underneath the rug. And I also think it's important, reading from your testimony, to put the Joint Plan of Action in the appropriate context. You say, quote, instead of limiting work on advanced centrifuges, referring to Iran, it could resume its efforts to increase and significantly improve its nuclear capabilities in a relatively short time frame. So let's be honest about what the Joint Plan of Action is. It's a freeze. It's a freeze that scientists that have come before this committee have said if they in fact decide to proceed and not make a deal, they need about 3 months. Now what, Mr. Chairman, I don't know that members of the audience get to participate here, but they need about 3 months. Now, I'm not a scientist, but I'll accept their testimony as pretty much substantive as to where they need to go. Any sanctions that we have imposed have taken minimum 6 months to give lead time to the world and to companies that this is now a sanctionable item. So that puts us beyond the time frame if they make a decision to move in a different direction. And let's be honest that at one time maybe, but now the Iranians do not believe that there is a credible use of military force on the table should they not make a deal and should they move to break through on nuclear capabilities for weaponization. So, you know, you're telling the committee then, and you can look us straight in the eye and say that prospective sanctions that don't take place until July, well after the period of time of not just a framework, because I've never been able to get my hands around your March framework, what that really means. I've been told there's not even going to be a written document to that effect. A March framework that takes place in July after a deal has either been consummated or not, and would only take place if a deal has not been consummated, and even with presidential waivers at that period of time, is somehow going to make the Ayatollah walk away from a deal that he thinks is in his country's or his best interest to have anyhow. That's tough to believe in. It defies common sense. That if I want to make a deal, that something you're going to do that doesn't affect my ability to make that deal is going to make me walk away from a deal that I found is in my interest anyhow. That's just not common sense.